Here is the thing most relationship content will not tell you. Emotional infidelity and financial infidelity almost always move together. When a wife is cheating, or has just cheated, her relationship with money changes, sometimes dramatically, sometimes subtly. But it changes, and those changes, if you do not understand what you are looking at, will quietly dismantle your financial future long before the relationship officially ends. I have spent years sitting in the intersection of money and relationships, studying the exact moment when financial behavior stops being about cash flow and starts being about guilt, power, secrecy, and self-preservation. I have worked through hundreds of real stories. Couples who survived, couples who did not, and couples who are still somewhere in between, trying to figure out which way they are going. And I want to have that conversation with you today, honestly, without judgment, and with real information you can actually use. If this channel is new to you, subscribe now. We talk about money and relationships together, because they are never separate. By the end of this video, you will understand the 4 specific financial attitudes that tend to emerge after infidelity. And more importantly, you will know whether recovery is actually possible and what it genuinely takes to get there. Let us get into it. The sudden financial independence that appears out of nowhere. There is a man, married 11 years, 2 kids, joint accounts his whole adult life. He and his wife, Claire, had always been a team with money, not perfect, but transparent. Then, around the time he noticed the emotional distance, he also noticed something else. Claire had opened a personal account, just for her, she said, for my own savings, for my independence. And she started routing a portion of her salary directly into it. Now, here is what I want you to hear carefully. There is absolutely nothing wrong with a woman or a man having their own financial account. That is healthy, that is normal. Financial autonomy within a relationship is a good thing. But here is the difference. When that account opens quietly, when the amount going into it escalates suddenly, when conversations about it are deflected or shut down, that is not about independence, that is about preparation. After infidelity, many women, consciously or not, begin building a financial exit ramp. They are not necessarily planning to leave tomorrow, but guilt, uncertainty, and the emotional chaos of what they have done creates a deep fear about the future. And that fear expresses itself financially as self-preservation, hidden savings, private investments, money moved before decisions have been made. The actionable piece here for both of you. If you are in a relationship where financial transparency has suddenly become a point of conflict, that is not just a money conversation. That is a relationship conversation dressed in financial clothing. The question to ask, calmly, openly, is this: what are we building toward? And are we still building it together? That question will tell you more than any bank statement. Guilt spending and the money that covers tracks. Let me tell you what guilt looks like when it wears a shopping bag. After infidelity, there is often a phase, sometimes brief, sometimes lasting months, where the partner who cheated spends in a way that does not fit the usual pattern. Gifts for the kids that feel excessive, surprise dinners out, random acts of financial generosity toward the family, and it feels good at first. The other partner might even think, wow, something has shifted. She is more present, more loving. But what is actually happening is that guilt is being monetized. The spending is not about love. It is about managing internal shame. It is about creating a version of the relationship in the present that feels like it justifies what happened in the past. And then, almost always, there is the other side of the guilt spending. The money that covers tracks, the cash withdrawals, the subscriptions nobody knows about, the hotel stays buried in a business expense, the money that quietly left the household to fund something that was never part of the household budget. A woman I spoke with, a composite story but a very real pattern, said she did not fully understand what her husband's affair had cost them financially until the divorce proceedings began. 3 years of hidden expenses, dinners, weekends, gifts. It came to over £14,000, and she had no idea. Not because she was naive, but because it was designed to be invisible. Here is what I want both partners to take from this. Unexplained financial patterns are data. You are allowed to ask about them. You are not paranoid. You are paying attention. A healthy relationship can hold the question, can we look at our accounts together and talk openly about what we see? If that question creates panic or defensiveness, that is your answer. The slow removal of shared financial goals. This one is quieter than the others, and honestly, it might be the most painful. When a relationship is stable, when both people are in it, genuinely, couples plan. They talk about the house they want to buy, the holiday they are saving toward, the retirement they are building together. There is a we inside the financial conversation, after infidelity, that we starts to disappear. Not loudly, just gradually. The conversation about the investment property gets dropped. The joint savings goal gets quietly deprioritized. When you bring up the future, she changes the subject or gives you a vague, non-committal answer, and you might chalk it up to stress or busyness or the general fog of life. But what is actually happening is a psychological decoupling. When someone is uncertain about whether they want to stay in a relationship, they stop investing, emotionally and financially. In a shared future, they are not going to keep putting money into a dream they are not sure they will be part of. There was a couple. Marcus kept trying to restart their conversation about buying a bigger home. They had been saving for 2 years. Yvonne kept finding reasons to delay, new excuses every few months. Marcus felt frustrated, then confused, then quietly devastated. It was only later, much later, that he understood. She had already begun, in her mind, to exit. The financial disengagement was the first chapter of a story he had not known was being written. The conversation starter here is this: I have noticed we stopped talking about our goal. I miss that. Can we revisit it together? Pay very close attention to what comes back. Enthusiasm, deflection, silence. The response will tell you where you both actually are. Legal and financial, self-protection. That begins before you know it is happening. This is the one that tends to surface last, but it does the most structural damage. When a woman has made a private decision that the relationship is likely over, she will often begin taking quiet legal and financial steps that create protection for herself. This is not malicious, or at least it does not start that way. It is fear and self-preservation. But the practical effect is that by the time you are sitting across from a mediator or a solicitor, the financial ground has already been shifting beneath your feet for months. What does this look like? Consulting a family lawyer privately, moving liquid assets, paying down personal debt using joint funds, updating beneficiaries on accounts or insurance policies, building a paper trail that documents her financial contributions to the household in ways that will matter in court. Now, and I say this with full honesty, these are not inherently villainous things. In fact, there are situations where a spouse should be protecting themselves financially. Abusive relationships, financially controlling partners, those situations are real, and self-protection is valid. But when this begins happening after infidelity, in a relationship that was otherwise functional, it is a signal that the decision has been made privately, while the public relationship continues as normal. And that gap between what is being said and what is being done financially is where the deepest damage occurs. The actionable truth here. If you suspect this is happening, you have the right to understand your own joint financial picture fully, not to punish, not to preempt, but to know. Get a clear view of your shared assets, liabilities, accounts and insurances, together, if possible. If that conversation is refused, seek your own independent financial guidance. Can couples actually recover? So, can they? Can a couple come back from all of this? Honestly, yes, some do. But recovery requires something most couples are not told to prepare for: The financial relationship has to be rebuilt alongside the emotional one. You cannot fix the trust and leave the money mess untouched. They are the same wound. The couples who make it through are the ones who are willing to have the full conversation, not just about what happened with the affair, but about the accounts that were hidden, the savings that were quietly built, the goals that were silently abandoned. They put everything, every financial layer on the table, and they build new agreements, new structures, new shared goals with full transparency. It is slow, it is uncomfortable, it is one of the hardest things two people can do together, but it is possible. And if you are the partner who was betrayed, I want you to hear this directly. Your financial vigilance right now is not paranoia, it is wisdom. You are allowed to want clarity. You are allowed to ask hard questions, and you deserve a partner who will answer them. If you are the partner who caused harm, the financial repair is part of your responsibility too. Transparency is not a gift you offer. It is the baseline that trust requires. We talk about all of this on this channel: the money, the relationship, and the messy, human space where they meet. If this conversation reached you today, subscribe because we go deeper every week. Share this with someone who needs to hear it, and if it stirred something in you, leave a comment. You do not have to name names. Just say what is real for you. You came here for a reason. Trust that.